So, welcome to the Self Belief series. If this is your first time being on a Self Belief series, welcome. Great to have you here. The Self Belief series came about a few years ago. I don't remember when. I do remember where I was because all of my great ideas come when I'm walking along the beach. And I realized that the word self belief, I love playing with words. So I was thinking about self belief, and the way we usually use it is like, we believe in ourselves. But I saw it with capitals. So self with a capital S and belief with a capital B. And if you know anything about the Soul Pleaser program, you'll know that we discover the true self with the capital S. And it's like there's two parts of us. There's this ego or this conditioned self that has all of these things to let go of. And then there's our true self, which is love and light and acceptance. And I decided that I would like to talk about self belief with people who have been through my program because it is a bit of a self belief journey to do the Soul Pleaser course. And I've ended up talking, if you go back and look at the recordings of the rest of the self belief series, you'll see that I've ended up talking to people who have either really gone to the next level in the business they already had, or many of them started a new business out the other side of doing the Soul Pleaser program, which is not something that I say will happen when you do the Soul Pleaser program, but it does happen for some people. So I'm very excited to introduce you to Lucy. Hi, Lucy.
Hi, thanks for
So
having me.
so excited to talk to you today. I never tell my guests what to expect because I don't know what to expect. And Lucy's totally okay with that. She's really good at living in the present moment. So I want to start with your story, Lucy, because it's such a fun one. So you and I met at the Adelaide Zoo. Can you share with everybody what you came up and said to me when we met at the Adelaide Zoo?
Oh God, can I remember? Um, okay. I'm not sure if it was me or hubby, but basically it was like, if anyone can help me, it's going to be you, as in that came out of hubby's mouth. So I think we just walked straight up to you and like just husband's energy is very much you say it or you don't say it. And
Yeah.
yeah, it was just, and yeah, he was like, if anyone can help me, it's you. And you were
Yeah.
like, oh, okay. So it was,
Yeah, and
yeah,
it was
that
the
was
best
it.
moment. Yeah, because I love that synchronicity when that happens. I didn't even know that he had watched whatever he had watched of me talking, probably a Profitable Farmer podcast. Who knows what I said, because once I say it, it's completely forgotten and it's gone. I always say to people, write notes if you want to know what I'm going to say, because I don't know. And I look now at what great friends we both are. But the very amusing part of all of that is if you can share at the time the reason that you also decided to do the Soul Pleaser program alongside of your hubby doing it, who, by the way, was the first man, the first male to ever go through the program. I didn't ever know that I would be doing it with men, and now have all these fabulous men that I'm doing the program with. But at the time, I was just doing it with women. But if you can just share, why did you do Soul Pleaser alongside of hubby?
Uh, First of all, I was sitting at this very kitchen table when I had a conversation with you about it, and it was to be a support network for him. So that was the first, only dot reason that I was doing it. This is winding back the clock. Let's just say 7 years, I reckon.
Yeah, yeah,
And convinced that, yeah, hubby goes, I need to do this thing. I think you should do it too. And I'm like, well, I suppose if it's going to help you, that's what I'll do. Very happy, like, you a lot of people come to the work when they think that there's something major that needs to change. For me, I had no idea. I was living life thinking I was going great guns, and I was.
yeah, yeah.
But apparently I could have gone better. And yeah, no, I was going really well. And I'm like, yeah, sure. And I remember having a conversation with you, and I'm sure you had a few thoughts and a few giggles in the background. And wow, like a year and a half later, after when I exited Soul Pleaser, the reason I joined was the furthest reason from the truth that, for the end reason. Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
yeah. And it's so great to share that because often we often don't know what we don't know, and we discover it by accident, is what it feels like. But once you do the work, you realize that you're exactly where you need to be at exactly the right time. But I love those stories. And, I reflect on my life, particularly to the outside world before I did this work myself. It looked ideal. I was actually really good at making it look ideal to everybody else. But, in hindsight, there was a lot of internal burnout that wasn't visible to most people. And I was really in denial about it, which is really common with burnout. Most people are. When you think back to kind of your awakening and the realizations that you had, where were you at in terms of the amount of work you were doing, for example, and potentially pressure you might have been putting on yourself?
Oh, well, let's just say that you and I are very similar, right? And same thing with you, with my mother, and no longer having her here. I worked my little tushy off, and I was doing probably the work of three people, and had two little kids, and I maintained it, and I congratulated myself on how my business and everything was going like that, and nothing sort of really slipped. And you just got the job done. So I was, yeah, very much brought up to work hard. I used to play very hard too. That those years have left me, but yeah, work hard, and you didn't get congratulated from sitting on your backside. And I actually didn't know that there was another way. I with 100% certainty had no idea that there was another option. So what I was doing was sensational, and I love that that person is part of me. Um, she's taught me so much, and I honor and love the hell out of her, but she's not my energy going forward. And my body started to break down. And yeah, there's a story that goes along with that that's only come out in the last couple of years. And yeah, I didn't know that you could sit still. I used to see people drinking coffee in the main street when I was going to and from work at all hours and thinking, what the fuck are they doing? Like, how do they have time for that? Who has time for that?
Yeah, yeah. Oh, yeah, we're so similar in that way. And I love you mentioning about your body starting to break down because you were at the very, very beginning of that when we first started working together.
Mm, mm,
And I just think, oh, I know that we find what we need at the perfect timing for us, even if we have no clue. And often we have no clue. It's actually much easier in hindsight to look back and say, wow, thank goodness I did it then, because how I would be handling this now would be completely different. Do you mind sharing, only share what you want to about your
mm.
sort of physical body reacting to this workaholism that you used to play with?
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so back really early on, especially I remember at one of the first soul pleaser retreats that I was on, I remember just thinking how, oh, like my body's really tired, and I had mild arthritis in my right hip. So one of my main income earning thing for like the last 20 years has been a pregnancy ultrasound contractor in ag. So very much male dominated industry. Like it was male dominated work, really. Very physical, lots of travel, lots of sitting in the car, and pre-testing is also sitting down as well. So mild arthritis in my hip, and just my body is just like I used to spend 6 months ruining it, scanning, and then 6 months readjusting everything, like going to PT reformer, just trying to even everything back out. Like if you looked at me from behind, my whole right side is like compacted in. And at that stage, I thought that that was all, but there was a lot of other stuff going on in the background. That sort of has only really, yeah, came out in the last couple of years, which has been really, really interesting. Yeah, I can go into that now or later.
Well, I think let's just go with it because I think one of the really important things is that how you received the news of your diagnosis and how you've decided to handle it. And it's not right or wrong. If somebody's watching this, either live or the recording, and you have a diagnosis, there is no right or wrong how you handle it. But it is significant to think how you may have handled it had you not done the work that you've done, not just soul pleaser, but everything you've gone on to do leading up
Hmm.
to where you are now.
All right. Okay. So I just want everyone to remember that this is me, and I'm very much a independent, self-empowered individual. So what works for me isn't going to work for everybody.
Yeah, this is not medical advice.
No way. So I've been diagnosed with ulcerative colitis, which is like a bowel condition. I know maybe 9 years ago, 10 years ago, something like that. Like when I was doing like early on doing the work. Actually, I hadn't even started doing the work then. Anyway, mild ulcerative colitis, and I was like, oh yeah, whatever. I'm not really attaching myself to any diagnosis. They put me on meds. I lasted like 5 minutes. I'm like, nah, that's fine. Don't need them. And so just continued about my life, had regular scopes to keep an eye on, inflammation in my bowel. I didn't like, had a really good diet, honestly. I was taking sups and thought I was doing all the right things to look after myself. And I got to a couple of years ago, I went in for a routine scope, and the gastro said, "Oh, yep, no, everything looks really good. We'll see you in the rooms in 3 weeks for, the biopsy results because I've got a history of bowel cancer." We're back in for my biopsy results, and the gastro goes, "Oh, I'm really sorry. You've got dysplasia through your whole bowel, which is pre-cancer, and we're going to have to take it out in the next 2 months, and you'll have two surgeries in a bag." And I was like, oh.
Oh my God.
And my body, like all I was hearing, thank God for my human design work. Otherwise, I don't know where I would have been, not knowing the difference between my brain and my body. But all I was hearing was opportunity, opportunity, opportunity. Like you've asked for this, like in a good way, like not a being mean to myself way, but like you've asked for this. This is an opportunity. And I was really calm and neutral. And at one stage, I even felt like I should be angry. Like the gastro said at one point, your body's let you down. Your body's betrayed you, Lucy. And I was like, I had to physically shake. And I'm like, whoa, that's not even mine. Where the hell did that come from? Anyway, long story short, 2 years later, I still have my bowel and I have reduced all the inflammation in my body. The dysplasia is still there, but it's like doing some weird thing, moving around. They tell me they've never seen a case like mine. The gastro and the surgeon that I was made to have contact with for the next step, that I knew that I wouldn't be, seeing him anytime soon, if ever again. And I just had to go through the process of working on sort of healing my body naturally. Got a homeopath on board with me, did a lot of acupuncture and a lot of hypno, lot more deep contemplative self-development work. Yeah.
Amazing. Very, very inspiring. And, we were talking before this session started about how we love chatting to each other because it's a conversation that is so real, like no time for small talk. Not that there's anything wrong with small talk, but straight to, I need a sounding board, this is what's going on. And, it's a real testament to you because when you understand that there's just this continual process of letting things go, there is no wrong in all of the things that we've collected along the way. Like your parents aren't wrong, your teachers aren't wrong, all the relationship you've had, all the experiences you've had, all the challenges you've had, they all have just created your journey and your story. And if you are lucky enough to sort of wake up to the fact that you do actually have some control over these things and that you can use your mind and your heart to shift things, then it's really empowering to be able to live differently. So it's not surprising to me that you've been able to, and I think you can often have the challenge that you can handle too. There
Mm.
might be people that aren't ready for that, but you were, and you can set the example. Now, you mentioned human design, so let's go back a little bit in terms of finishing the Soul Pleaser program. You were in it for about a year and a half. What happened next? How did you land on human design?
Well, first of all, being in Soul Pleaser, there's like many moments you remember, but there was this one moment where I was walking through the paddock, and with Soul Pleaser, like I used to love doing the lives, like in the moment, sharing when it was the most powerful. Nothing fulfilled me more than doing that. And then hearing your responses live, all the other participants, and getting on and doing that, like it was amazing. And I remember walking in the paddock one day, going, "It's the middle of the day. I'm going for a walk in the middle of the day." I was like, "Whoa, this is insane." And then I was like, and I'm okay with it. Another one of those
Breakthrough.
moments. Yeah, another one of those moments, like, what the hell? And then it was like, it was coming towards the end of Soul Pleaser. And then, yeah, I just knew after 18 months, I was done. Like I had to move on to make room, but it was hard. It was like I almost had to grieve that because I got so much out of it and the women and we grew together and it was such an amazing community. However, I just knew that I had to move on. And I remember on one of my last calls, it was during that week, I had two people in two different circles of influence mention human design to me. And I was like, oh, yeah, what's this? And Googled, and I was like, I looked at this thing, this chart, and it was like something overtook my body. And
I get
I
that.
have not gone back, right? Like
Yeah.
I can't, it's really hard to explain, but it was like something overtook me. Anyway, I then started going down the rabbit warren. I was having all these ahas about me and my family, my hubby, my kids, everything. And then I got on nearly one of my last soul pleaser courses, and I was like, I don't know how I'm going to do this. I don't know any of the details, but I'm going to become a walking human design encyclopedia, and I'm going to help everybody who wants to be helped with this. I was so lit up. I then went and had a 1 hour session with a man in New Mexico online. All he had was my birth date, time, and place. I walked out of that 1 hour never feeling so seen in my entire life. I was like one of those smiling assassins, that you'd be looking at me, something terrible might be happening anywhere else, and here I am just walking around like, and I just thought I knew, and I remember that you remember the defining moments where you're standing and everything, and I'm like, my life's never going to be the same.
Yeah.
And it's not. It's just like ultimately everything, what you do and I do is similar, but just delivered in completely different ways. And someone might resonate with me, but they might not resonate with somebody else, and vice versa. So ultimately, it's the same thing, but just resonates. It's bringing people back to the truth of who they are. And for me, it's a roadmap, and I understand it, and I'm so bloody lit up by it.
Yeah, yeah, I completely relate, obviously. Like when you fall into it's so true. I think back and I think I was telling you this about the word calling, that
Mm,
people use the word calling, like I've found my calling, or this is my calling. And now when I meet a new person who is so ready to start the Soul Pleaser program, I'm like, it was you that was calling me. Like
mm,
every
mm,
single person, that it just happens to be my program and me that they need to go in their next step. Um, they were calling me. So back when I first had the idea of from people pleaser to soul pleaser, I was a science-based physio like you with your job. And it didn't make any sense for me to sell a perfectly good, profitable physiotherapy business and do something with the word soul in it. It seemed ridiculous, really.
yep.
So similar to your story. But wild horses couldn't stop me. And now I realize the wild horses were all the people in the future who I now know in this current future. Um, and there are more to come, were calling me to that because they needed just my unique way of being able to listen to them and feel what it is they needed to hear. And then you found a platform that is just totally resonating with you to be
Mm,
able to do that as well. So
mm.
so I want to circle back to self-belief because that's how this self-belief series came about. And what I realized about self-belief is that until we find the true self, until we understand who we really are, our self-belief is based on our conditioned self, which we believe in sometimes, we have confidence in sometimes, and then other times we don't, because it varies, doesn't it? Like we have confidence in this thing that we've done for a really long time, and then we're put in a situation where we feel a bit out of our depth, or we've got somebody who's dominating us, or the circumstances make us wobble and we lose that self-belief. You came into the program as a really confident person.
Yep.
Um, how would you describe yourself growing up in terms of self-belief?
There's like two levels, right?
Yeah, exactly. So you can talk to both. Yeah.
Okay. So ultimately, like, deep down, like awesome, amazing, aligned, independent, self-empowered, much into the beat of my own drum, like using my voice, like, confident.
Yeah.
And then the other part, which is the girl that made sure that she never had a jumper on that didn't not cover her ass.
Mm,
And hesitant to speak up sometimes because you get told that, oh, you talk too much.
yeah.
I'm very fair. So, like, I used to get paid out about wearing white pants in the swimming pool. So then you like make sure that you're wearing pants even on a 40-degree day at school. Like
Mm,
all that stuff, the baggage and everything on top. And it's like this push-pull relationship, you've got this knowing and then you've got all this stuff and then all this stuff kind of like just takes over
yeah.
and all the amazing parts about you they're covered up by a jumper and a shirt, like as in metaphorically, like as in the conditioning and the baggage,
Yeah.
and it's so heavy, right?
Mm, yeah. And you absolutely know what self with the capital S is for you now.
Mm. Yeah.
How do you describe living in alignment compared to, and can I just say, neither of us are gurus, neither of us are the Dalai Lama, and neither of us are in alignment 24/7. But we definitely know what it feels like to be aligned with the true self, and we know what it feels like to be out of alignment. How would you describe the feeling, the difference between those two states?
um how would I describe the feeling? Okay, so for me it's like satisfaction as opposed to frustration.
Yeah.
They're my key indicators with the human design type that I am. They're the two big words that stand out. So whenever I'm feeling frustration, I know I'm misaligned. Whenever I feel satisfaction, I know that I'm aligned.
Yeah.
Um, there's something else in that though. The frustration, satisfaction. It's like, I'll be honest, I can't. Not that I ever tried to on purpose, but you can't lie to yourself when you get to a certain level in, your growth and your learnings, knowing the difference between your inner authority and then outer
Mm,
influence, you can't lie to yourself. So, yeah, and thankfully, especially with all my health stuff, I always knew within reason what was mine and then what was coming from being conditioned. And it's easy then. It's easy to make decisions. It's easy to stay in alignment, or it's easy to come back into alignment quicker
yeah.
because you've got those signposts. Yeah, anything that feels good is for us. Anything that doesn't isn't. And there is a massive difference between being out of alignment and being out of your comfort zone. And if you know how to facilitate those questions, depending on, for me, my knowledge, depending on what energy type you are, if you can facilitate that to bring you back really quick, I do it all day, every day.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think that's the other thing is that one of the things that you do when you become a facilitator for other people is you are living that yourself. So it comes very easily because you do it to yourself all day. And then when you're having a session with someone, then you're assisting them to be able to do it as well. The other thing that I've noticed you say is that you listen to your body. So
Mm.
is there a difference for you between what's in your head and the signs that you get from your body that helps you to know what is the path for you opposed to what's white noise?
Okay, a really easy way to explain this for every person, every energy type, not just mine, is the difference between I know and I think.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, so I know is like this body resonance. It's almost like from here down, you can feel it. And the I think is when you're all heady and scattery. And fear, like for me, a gut no is a no, and it comes from the body down. A fear no comes from up here and it has words. So our mind operates out of fear of survival, makes up stories, tells us lies. Um, and I know the body, and then when the mind's coming in and then trying to convince you of opposite to what your body's told you. However, it doesn't come easy, takes lots of practice. And those that are very identified with their mind, which I was, still am to degrees, might not even be able to resonate with what body resonance is. And then that's, someone like me and you come in and help bring people back to that because a lot of people are like, I don't know what the hell you're talking about.
Yeah, and different people need to learn it in different ways, that
Yep.
suits them and works for them. So can you explain to the people who are watching this who might not have heard of human design, what it is and how would they know if they would benefit from it?
Okay. Okay, so human design is if you've ever heard of disc profiling,
Mhm.
it's like disc profiling on steroids. So disc profiling gives you information about your personality, which is your conditioned mind, right? So there's so much, like there's layers of coats over the answers that you give in disc profiling. With human design, it brings in together your conscious and your unconscious energy, so body and mind together, and we look at the person as one. It's like a roadmap that to bring you back to the truth of who you are. So for me, it's a mixture of five different ancient esoteric systems that were downloaded by a fellow called Ra Uruhu in the early 80s. Um, I don't know much about that. It doesn't like I don't understand astrology. I don't really understand the Kabbalah. I don't understand the Chinese I Ching. However, I understand human design, and they're all these amazing things that have come together in one. And and I take three bits of data, so birth, date, time, and place, and I run it through my system, and I it spits out to me a chart, and from that chart, I can see the greatest areas of conditioning. They just come up straight away. I can see consistent, reliable energy is the best way that you can make decisions. Um, uh, if you're suited to large group, small group, working independent or collaborative in a partnership. If your energy is quick or if it's, more slow, how your digestive system works, like any detail you need, like depending on how accurate your birth data is like how accurate I can get in what I share with you back. And it has helped me understand my family and myself above anything else that I've ever done in my entire life. It's like a really quick way to someone's bullshit.
Yeah.
So if I'm not here to tell you who you are and what you're doing, but I can see straight away from that where the conditioning is going to be. And you might be on the receiving end of a call and telling me something, and I can see straight through it.
Yeah.
So, based on what I can read in the chart, and the more aligned and connected someone is, the more they resonate with the information. And also remembering that 50% of our energy is unconscious. So, if I was sitting potentially with you and your partner, you might go, "Oh, no, that doesn't really sound like me." And the partner would be going, "Are you serious?"
So true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, I could talk about it all day long, but I understand it. I've spent the last 6 years, researching it. I'm in my own experiment. And what that means is I don't just take the information someone's given me and go, oh, that's me. I actually try it on what works, what resonates. And I've started a new certification even last week in business. And 6 years later, I'm still learning the most profound things about myself. And things that hit. You know, when you learn something about yourself and you know that it's true because of the way that it hits, I'm like,
Yeah.
how can this just, yeah, I don't think I'll ever stop learning in this area.
Yeah, amazing. So if somebody is thinking, they're watching this and they're thinking, I wonder if human design is for me, usually people come to something because they want to solve a problem. What sort of solutions are people looking for when they come to you?
Yeah, they might be really unhappy in their work. They could potentially have some arguments going on between body and brain, and be thinking, what's the difference? What's the right way for me to make decisions? Like, there's so much outside influence. What do I offer in life? So there are a lot of us that we're trying to be somebody we're not, right? Which is all what I call the openness in our chart. We go, oh, so distracted by everything we're not, filling in the gaps, and we're taught, do the hard thing. With human design, it's like, hang on, let's bring you back to you first. Let's work out what's yours and what's someone else's, because a lot of people are so conditioned, they might be making a decision. And if they were with those same people or that same partner or whatever it might be, would they be making that decision? Well, they don't know because they're so conditioned. So
Yeah.
for me, it's anyone who's looking to align more and that resonates with my energy, right? So if you don't resonate with my energy, you know, not necessarily human design, it's not for you. It's just maybe I'm not for you, but it'll come to you at the right time. And there's no way that if you told me 10 years ago I'd be doing this, I would have told you were crackers.
That is so true. Even the day that I met you in the at the zoo, if I'd have said 10 years from now you'll be doing human design, you'd be like, oh yeah, maybe we don't want to work with you.
No kidding, right? I know, and it just comes so naturally for me to talk in this, in this way now because I have such faith in it. And, I work on the land, like I'm very, what you see is what you get. But even the
Yeah.
other day, I was at one of my children at boarding school and I got all the human design data from all his mates in his boarding room. And the parents were like, what are you doing? So when I was then able to communicate, because one of the boys is having a bit of, he's just different to the others, not in a bad way, but just different. And when I was able to communicate that with my eldest son, who is in the same room as him, it helps him now be able to interact with that kid. And there's nothing wrong with him. And the parents are like, how do you know this stuff about our kids? And I'm like, well, it's just what I interpret. It's my way of being able to, to sort of get to the truth and, help people, families, it can be anyone. Like you could be having, I've got a mother and daughter coming to meet with me next week that I work with on farm, and the daughter's really struggling with her mental health. And I'm not a medical professional, but I had this inclination of what energy type she was. I ran her chart and I was like, oh my gosh, this poor bird is going to be she's so conditioned, she actually doesn't know what's hers and what's someone else's.
Yeah.
And I just know that I can help. And if she's ready, like it's just going to open up doorways for her. And there's nothing wrong about any of us. And we walk around thinking that there's so many things wrong. But what happens if we just understood ourselves and had that kindness and compassion, first for self and then for the other? Like my husband and I, we are polar opposites, are we not?
Yes, you are.
And I always used to say, oh, you need to go to the naturopath. There's something wrong. You're always tired. You're always this. You're always that. Like there was something wrong with him projecting that out. And the second I read the basics of his human design, I'm like, oh, wow. Like,
My
wow.
house will shut up.
I, yeah, yeah. And I've been contributing to him not being in alignment. And then you feel terrible because you're like thinking about all the things you've done in the past. But now that I know, don't get me wrong, not all the time. Like I can still be quite judgy and very opinionated. However, I'm very, very aware. Like, my husband's energy is he's not here to work a 9 to 5 day, 7 days a week. He's literally here to be in creative bursts. It's like he might have the will to do something and he'll like power through for 2 weeks. And then it's like he goes on vacation like for
Yeah.
3 months maybe. It's creative urges, yet he's conditioned that he's got to show up every day the same way. And oh my goodness, like when you can just understand,
Yeah.
oh my God, it's like a weight off your shoulders.
Well, that's really important for another area that you help people in, which is business, because we talk a lot about, having a good org chart, which is a really important part of success. And if you
Yep.
understand people's genius zone, then you can literally create the role to get the most out of them and the most out of the business. So that's an
Yep.
exciting thing that you can help people with as well.
Yes, yes, it is. I haven't started working with teams. I've only been training with teams, but I can't wait to start working with teams. I've got some amazing collaborations coming up worldwide for that, local and worldwide. That really lights me up. But instead of pushing to be something that we're not and to fill a role, like I've got this amazing picture. It's a jigsaw piece puzzle. So work with me here. It's part of my studies. It's a jigsaw piece puzzle and it's a cartoon character and it's born and it's perfect and it's happy. And then it goes through kindergarten and it's playing with its friends and it's all happy. And then, it's graduating and it's got its hat and it's like a diploma and it's really happy. And then it opens the newspaper and it starts sweating and freaking out, like trying to look for a job, right? And
Mm.
then it's in a group of people and it's like, oh, it's okay. I've just cut off my arm so this jigsaw
Oh,
piece can fit into here.
yeah.
So I fit and I belong, but really I'm dying inside. And
Mm.
that is nearly every single one of us until
Yeah.
we have awareness. And for me, I can see people coming and going, oh, I'm doing this thing. And you can hear it like intuitively, as well,
Mm.
Tracy. You can hear it when people are aligned or misaligned with their job, their family, their work, whatever it might be. And if I can just say, hey, how does this sound instead? And you can feel like you can see the shoulders just drop. You're like, so why are you doing that? And there's a story. It'll be conditioning. It'll be proving. There'll be some sort of distraction in there, keeping them away from what they're supposed to be doing. Another small example is I work well in partnership. So husband and I work really well together. I'm not really suited to small group. Now, I've always thought there was something wrong with me, right?
Yeah.
I'm like, oh my God, I'm not seen. I'm not seen in this environment. I'm not utilized for, my superpowers. And then when I studied and I went through my information, I'm like, oh, I'm not actually designed to be in a small group because of, and then through studies, know X, Y, Z, the weight dropped off the shoulders. So I can be in that environment for experience or a short period of time, and I know what I'm seen for and what I'm not. And it's okay.
Yeah.
It's okay.
Yeah, so a lot of self-acceptance, which is so linked to self-belief, isn't it? Because if you can go, this is me, because through the Soul Pleaser program, a lot of people have conditions on their self-acceptance. Like if I lost a bit of weight, I would feel better about myself, or
Yeah.
all of these crazy things. And then when you do this work with people and they understand, oh, well, that makes sense. Like, no wonder
Yes.
I'm pushing against that because that's not really who I am. That's not what I'm
Yeah.
designed for. Yeah, that's really
Yeah.
exciting. Well, I just want to open it up to questions. I know that there's a bit of chat going on in the chat box of people that have worked with Lucy and are singing your praises, which is really lovely. But is there anybody on the call that has any questions for Lucy? If you've been thinking about having a human design session or you've never heard of it, but now that we've talked about it, you think, oh, maybe that would be helpful. Is there something I haven't asked? Do you have a question that you would like to ask, Lucy? If you do have a question, you can just unmute yourself and ask it, or you can wave me down.
They might think I'm all crackers, Tracy. I remember early on when in Soul Pleaser when I was so into Abraham Hicks and everyone was like, what is going on here? And now everyone's like, Abraham Hicks.
I know, it's a thing for sure. Well, instead, what I'll do, Lucy, can you share what would somebody do if they wanted to know more?
Oh, you can go to my website. So I've
Great,
got that as a landing platform, lucypeel.com.au.
great.
Otherwise, just find me on social media and send me a voice text. Send me a voice text and just say, hey, my name's such and such. I heard you on Tracy's self-belief series and do you want to have a chat? Like, you need to get along with somebody's energy instead of use your own discernment. Like, do you think this is for you? Do you think this is for you right now? Do I resonate with Lucy's energy? Yeah, I'm not here to push anything, but yeah, I
No,
love helping people. So yeah, probably my website or yeah, shooting me a voice text on Messenger.
great. So
Mm.
Riyadh said, I think Beck has a question. Beck, do you have a question?
Hi, Lucy. Beck Balfour,
Hey
how you
mate,
going?
good mate, how you going?
Um, Good. I can definitely attribute to Lucy's vibration when you're around her. So we met Lucy at Rick and Annie's, and yeah, it just resonates. How how does the process work? Is my question. Like, how do you work with us to um, basically how do you work with us? Like, how
Yeah.
does the process happen?
Yeah, okay.
Does that make sense?
So the first step is three bits of data from you, birth date, time, and place. The more accurate you can be with the time, the more accurate I can be. Because sometimes our energy is out by 1 minute or not very much at all for the 24-hour period. So they're the three things that I need. I'd run your chart and then I'd just probably book in a foundational session. So about an hour and 15 minutes with you, just to see what's coming up for you right now. Um, I would go over the basics, like pretty much just a real general overflow. Your energetic type, the way you best make decisions, the way you best process information, and I might point out a couple of key areas of conditioning that might resonate with you or not. And then I take it from there. I'm not one to sort of go, okay, you come to me and pay me all this money and I'm going to change your life. I'm not here to do that. I will give you the tools like Tracy, and it's up to you to do something with that. But my enthusiasm and passion for this project, like is second to none. So you get 110% out of me every single time.
Thanks, that's great. I really think like the work that we've done with Tracy and Annie, to have
Oh,
you as
yeah.
part of that would just complement the whole, probably bring all the pieces together is what I feel after just listening to you. Thank you.
Thank you. No, I do get a lot of people saying that it sort of does start connecting the dots. It's like it really complements.
Yeah, I think you're right, Beck. I think that the journey never ends. And so we do work with one person through one sort of program or modality, and then there are other things that complement it. But it just opens our eyes to all of these opportunities. And whatever resonates with you, as Lucy said, if you're feeling it with Lucy, then definitely reach out. So, what will happen now is there will be a recording of this and you will receive it via email. And Lucy's website will be in that email as well. So you'll be able to reach out to Lucy via the email that comes out from me. So thank you so much for chatting with me, Lucy. I'm so excited for you. I absolutely love seeing people in their genius zone, following their calling, passionate about what they do, having a flow on effect. Because, you know, the other exciting thing that we didn't mention is you talk with one person and then it helps their husband and it helps their
Yeah.
kids. And then the kids are different at school and it helps their mates. And you just don't even know who you're impacting, which is just so exciting sometimes when you happen to hear those stories back. So it's a beautiful place to be.
Mm. Love it.
Thank you, Lucy. Thank you for being here. And thanks for all the ladies that were on live. And hello to everybody that watches the recording. Please reach out to Lucy or myself if you need any extra support. Bye.
See ya.